From time to time, we get criticised for the way we handle a certain topic, and that's to be expected. But this next story has already touched off considerable criticism from people who argue that we shouldn't even be showing it in the first place. The subject is generally known as glue sniffing, though it now covers the misuse of a number of spray can or aerosol products. Australian health authorities have traditionally taken the view that the less said about it, the better, on grounds that any publicity will simply encourage a few more young people to try it. As we say, that's the traditional view, but it's under growing challenge from experts who argue that sniffing deaths are on the increase, not despite the policy of silence, but precisely because of it. Parents, for example, don't know what signs to look for in their kids' behaviour in order to protect them. The kids themselves have no idea how dangerous the practice really is. That's why we've decided that this story should be told, despite considerable pressures to allow things to go on just the way they are.
For such a terrific kid to just go so easily, you know, at his first attempt at some foolish thing like this, we're just not the type of people that'll sit still and, let's say, cop it sweet, as we were asked to.
It hurts to cop it sweet when you've just lost your 15-year-old son. But that was the best advice that Ted and Ellen Rakowski got when Greg died. Killed not by heroin or a hit-and-run driver, but by his first and only sniff of an aerosol spray can, round at his mate's place.
In our case, yes, we were told that. Don't go to the media.
Who told you?
Initially the police, because I remember asking the police, are the media going to be told about this? They said no, and we prefer you didn't either. And then the day of the inquest, the coroner himself requested no media reports be made on the inquest or to be present.
Every single person in any field of our Health Commission here in New South Wales that I have spoken to on the phone, that is their standard comment. Oh, but it's counterproductive to talk about it.
In New South Wales, and we suspect in every state of Australia, there has been what amounts to a conspiracy of silence on the subject of sniffing. Police, coroners, the Education Department, the Health Department, and the manufacturers have all adopted the policy that to talk about sniffing would be counterproductive.
If it's counterproductive to talk about it, what's doing nothing about it?
John and Jan Oswald's son Sean died in February. He was 17. The Oswalds were also told to keep quiet.
But I can't see how telling parents what to watch out for with their children, be them headaches, coughs, whatever. I can't see how that's counterproductive. Maybe somebody seeing this tonight on TV might just say to themselves, gee, Tommy's not real good, he's a bit off. Maybe that's what's wrong with him.
I am concerned that our policy of no comment has led to a continuing problem of deaths, particularly among young people.
Dr. Trevor King is Chief Health Officer at the New South Wales Health Commission. As we said, the Commission's policy on sniffing, up until now, has been to say nothing. What do you think the policy has worked?
My own view is no. We have a number of deaths every year from the inhalation of these products, and under some circumstances the one sniff is enough to cause the death, particularly of a young adult.
Sean Oswald gave up cigarettes because he thought they were unhealthy. Rugby star Greg Rakowski had never even smoked marijuana. What killed them both was a modern-day aid to athletes. Spray cans filled with freezing fluorocarbons, which numb bumps and bruises. Bob Wilson's boys always have a can handy.
It's when one of the players is playing in the game and he may get a kick or might pull a thigh muscle or something while he's playing, and there's not much time to treat the injury, so we have to use some kind of format to try and numb the injury, and he can go on playing. So we do keep a can in the trainer's kit, the runner's kit, when he runs on the field. It's just mainly for instant relief from the injury if it's really sore.
It's a central nervous system depressant and carries with it a progressive depression of the central nervous system which can end in coma and death.
Dr. Greg Cheshire of Sydney University says there's no mystery about how fluorocarbons can kill you.
And this will make the heart beat in an abnormal manner.
Too fast.
Too fast and ineffectively. And this also can cause death. So it can undoubtedly happen on the first occasion. So it's a pretty hazardous behaviour.
But what do the manufacturers have to say about that?
It seems that the only way that the components in our product can indeed be dangerous are when they're subject to inhalation in extremely concentrated forms, which is a clear abuse of the product.
David Perrin is boss of the company that makes the spray. He's agonising over what to do. All the expert advice that he's had up till now has been to keep quiet.
There is a view that says that dire warnings, in fact, can be counterproductive. They can serve to alert the young people in our community to the fact that this is a substance, along with many other substances, that can be abused, and with it that horrifying enticement to experiment.
Now that's an argument we hear regularly, but the fact is 5 or 6 children a year in New South Wales are dying as a result of sniffing, so quite clearly the policy hasn't worked.
There's no question in my mind that the answers that have been developed by society to date haven't been satisfactory and aren't working.
Talk to his family or his friends or anyone who knew him, and they all agree that Greg was the most unlikely kind of a 15-year-old to die in such a senseless way.
It's not a particular kind of a child from a broken, unhappy home that does this type of thing. It is a widespread social practice amongst young Australians all over our nation, and they're just like our Greg.
It's known and it's happening. It can't be swept under the carpet. It's happening. And people have to recognise it's a problem. The health department, the education department, they have to know that there's a problem.
If some of these people could see some of the autopsy reports on people that have been doing it for a while, let's say 2 or 3 months, they wouldn't dare sniff again, I'm sure of that.
There's no need to dramatise things here. It's a bit too late now. The city morgue is where the dead bodies of sniffers finish up. In New South Wales, that's about 6 kids every year. And the autopsy reports always read the same. Stomach, fluorocarbons detected. Liver, fluorocarbons detected. Blood and urine, fluorocarbons detected. Brain, gross swelling. All this from sniffing.
He was standing up to the right of me, and he woke up out of this dream like you have, and then he smiled at everybody, looked around, and then I turned away, and I heard someone fall, and when I looked around, it was Greg laying on the ground.
Eddie Rakowski watched his elder brother Greg die. Did you know that there were risks involved?
Not at all.
But you had a fair idea that there might be some dangers. I mean, that's
yeah,
part of it.
Yeah. But I didn't think it could kill.
Eddie now knows that this spray can kill if it's misused. The manager of this suburban store also knows that it's dangerous.
They wouldn't have a smaller tin, would you?
No, that's
He told us that he only stocks the large can size, so kids can't slip it into their school bags. And he no longer stocks lighter fluid at all.
Our bone of contention is that they don't really tell you that the product can lead to death, that the product can make you permanently physiologically impaired, that the product can give you repeated nausea, dizziness and headaches for X years.
Dr. Kate Short runs Choice, the consumer watchdog magazine. She says that the labelling of many products sniffed by children is dangerously inadequate, and that others, like fluorocarbon sprays, simply should not be on the shelves.
They warn you, they say, hazardous if not used properly, but that's not really a warning that will alert a parent, for example, to the fact that these products can lead to children dying. We don't need chlorofluorocarbons being used in aerosol sprays. It's a frivolous use. You know, it's a frivolous use of a very, very, very powerful chemical.
The federal government has put out a technical book on the dangers of fluorocarbons, and it points out that regulations in America, Canada and Europe require manufacturers to switch to alternative products. The result has been a dramatic drop in the use of fluorocarbons. In Australia, there are no such regulations, and there has been no such drop. Here, the manufacturers have been left to police themselves.
Goodness me, look at this.
8 years.
8 years of age, a dozen boys sniffing glue in a school
This
playground.
lady's got to be answered straight away.
The Oswalds and the Rakovskis know that it's now too late to bring their boys back. But it's not too late to save other mothers' sons and daughters.
It appears that the sniffing of the glue was part of an initiation into a club.
They've weighed up the risks and decided that it's time to end the official conspiracy of silence.
I think we'd better write to that lady in
I
Queensland,
reckon,
don't you?
straight away.
Straight away.
Yeah.
It's a frightening picture. Kids from 8 to 18 years old sniffing glue and thinners and aerosol sprays in the classroom. So what are the teachers doing about the problem?
I think that the idea of not spreading a whole lot of information about dangerous actions is well recognised throughout the world. Now, whether it is effective or not, only time has told us, and I agree with you that I think a better method is to inform all those concerned of everything that is known and keep the techniques silent.
Frank Meany of the New South Wales Education Department is another who now thinks that the policy of silence simply hasn't worked.
It is a tragic situation, and certainly we try to do what we can, but not everybody wants to know, nor does everybody know that they need to know until they are faced with a problem.
This fact sheet about the dangers of sniffing is put out by the New South Wales Health Department. It's one of the few warnings that there is. And most people, especially parents, don't even know that there's a problem. Now, the kids know about sniffing. What they don't know is just how deadly it can be, because nobody has bothered to tell them.
To think a beautiful little boy like that can die doing something he thinks is not going to hurt him.
For some, it would be a bit more comfortable, perhaps, if the sniffing contagion was confined to a few street kids in sleazy back alleys. But it's not. It's much more widespread than that, amongst ordinary school kids and from good homes. Some people would argue that spray cans, like shotguns, only kill when they're misused. But at least we know that shotguns are deadly. It's not a secret.
There has been no massive media coverage of this particular danger to young people in Australia. Had there been media coverage, we would have known about it, and still children are trying and dying.
Just 3 days ago in New South Wales, another boy died sniffing that same product we mentioned. He was 17, and once again his parents had no idea what was happening.
Hello, I'm Liz Hayes. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9 Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.